Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Ascoli, the inventress. My business is Inventing A to Z. At Inventing A to Z, I work with clients to take their products from concept to fruition, from a napkin idea all the way to the marketplace and everything in between, the right way. If you want to contact me, email me, lisa@inventingatoz.com. My website, inventingatoz.com. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Ascoli, the inventress. Welcome to my podcast. Hi, everybody. This is Lisa Ascoli, the inventress. Welcome to my podcast. I'm super excited this week because I have on a phenomenal woman, a very good friend of mine for many, many years. She is the CEO and co-founder of a new business called Storytellers, Words, Images. Now, and this tells me a lot. We're going to go into some extreme detail because I'm extremely excited about what this business just sounds like. Sonia Alleyne used to be the editorial director for Black Enterprise magazine, and this is how we met. Sonia, I'm so happy to have you. Welcome to our show. How are you?
Thank you so much, Lisa. Always a pleasure to gather with you, no matter what it is. Get together with you, no matter what it is, whether it's on the phone, just chatting, or doing business with you. So this is exciting. Thank you.
You're amazing, girl, and I feel so blessed to have you here. You have no idea.
That is mutual. That is so mutual. Thank you.
So before we jump in, Sonia, how are you? I just want to find out how you're doing. You know, we're dealing with this thing that I won't name. I won't give it any strength. I will not give it legs or any more energy than it already has. But you know what I'm talking about. How are you doing?
And that's why I love you, because that's how I feel. We're doing all the things that we're required to do in my household. But I, too, am not trying to give it any more energy than I need to. And I've been using this time to, and not to say that I haven't gotten nervous or I haven't had many, bouts with anxiety, but I'm really trying to use this time to strengthen all of me, strengthen myself spiritually. I'm eating better than I think I've ever eaten. I'm spending better time with my family members, and I feel really creative. I think it's just the downtime that's allowing me to just create. And so I feel really, really creative at this time. And so even as Shay and I, my business partner is Shay, as we're figuring out how to inspire people and, get the right information out, we're finding that this has been a really productive time for us.
And it really is. It's a time where we've been given no choice.
Right.
And so Shay Leonora, am I correct in her name? Okay, yes. So you and her are partners, and you're both brilliant together, individually and apart. And what you're doing is phenomenal. A business that we all need, especially as entrepreneurs. And
Absolutely.
I want to say it again. And it's Storytellers, Words, Images. It says it all. It says
Words,
it all.
Images, magic. Yep.
And magic.
Yes, don't forget the magic.
It is the magic. You see, it's very magical being on the phone with you right now. But I mean, it is. It is a magic, and I can see it. I'm looking at your website. I see how you started, but just give us some insight as to what this business is really about.
Well, so Shay and I are really excited. We both met at Black Enterprise, and I was on the editorial side, and she was on the graphic side, and she still is a graphic artist. And so we came together, we became good friends, and we would share a lot of stories, but we'd also find that a lot of our conversations were around business. Like, we would actually look at what businesses were doing right and what they were doing wrong, and then we would literally analyze them and say what we would do if we were running this business, or if we were in charge of their messaging. And in one of these conversations, we were just like, well, why don't we do this? Like, we talk about it all the time. Why don't we just do it? And so
I love that piece, girl. I love that part of it. Don't just say what you're going to do. Do what you're going to do.
Let's do it. And I have to be honest, it took us a while. I was still working, and I think that you know, Lisa and I, you and I talk about moving past fear.
Yes.
And so we'd ramp up to a certain place, and then we wouldn't move forward, and then we just recognized that if this is as important as we say it is, every time we talk about it, we're excited. We get new downloads regularly, and what Shay and I believe spiritually is that if you're given something, then it's your responsibility to make sure that you see it to the end. And I think
love
that's
that.
where we partner so well. And so this was clearly a gift. And so it was important that we move forward. So we have our website, and we list our services. But what we're really excited about is we're launching our course, our Storytellers course, on April 20th.
That's what I love. I love that you have a course, because
we're really excited about that.
everyone needs a step-by-step plan, a guide, guidelines, hand-holding sometimes, as it were. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's the way you see things come to fruition, right?
Absolutely.
Showing them the right way.
Absolutely.
And so what is the name of the guide? Is it your business?
So it's what we love about our course is it's not a pre-recorded course.
Okay.
So we are there it's a 5-week course,
Mm-hmm.
and we are the instructors for all 5 weeks. There are homework assignments. So
Mm-hmm.
we call it it's a roll up your sleeves kind of course. You're going to have to do work. There's homework. And there's a system for us checking it. So the other piece that we did, we recognized that sometimes people aren't really good in terms of taking notes, or they're not good with follow-up afterwards. So we actually created the Storytellers Business Manual. And so it's the workbook that you will be working on
Mm-hmm.
throughout the course, throughout the 5 weeks. But by the end of the 5 weeks, it will be completed, and it will be your own customized manual for your business. And so this is a manual that you can continually refer to, but it's also one that you can use for training if you're bringing on interns or additional staff. And it's the one of the most important pieces for this manual is that it keeps you consistent, because what we had found is that the one mistake that or among the mistakes that small businesses can make is that the experience is not a consistent one. And,
yes.
And to further explain that, the reason that you can have, if you go to Apple in San Francisco,
mm-hmm.
or you visit Apple in New York, your experience will be roughly the same. You may like a personality there more than the other, but in terms of what you get accomplished there, the process that you go through for the reason that you're there, how you buy the product, everything is consistent. And so
yes.
It's a consistent experience. So it's why people continue to come back to Apple. What we find sometimes with small businesses is, depending who's in the store or depending on who's on the other end of the line,
mm-hmm.
your experiences, the consumer experience, can vary. And so and that's the experience that the consumer has is what they share.
Yes.
And that becomes your brand. So whatever you think your brand is really carried by your customers, because they determine who you are based on what your experience is and so what their experience is. And so you want to be able to control that experience as much as you can. And the best way to do that is by having a consistent story throughout every aspect of your business, how your business functions.
So what I want to say, and that is so true, and you do see that with companies like Apple and Starbucks, you see consistency. But I want to back up to the course. I love that I'm going to say, help people to become accountable in their business, and the hand-holding thing. And it's not a one-size-fits-all program.
No.
You're doing individual courses that are designated or designed for their specific business.
Exactly.
You're not putting a program together.
That's why we feel it's important that we are actually on these sessions, that it's not a pre-recorded session, because everybody's going to have different, I mean, we have one system, we have a formula, it's a 4D system that we think that we know can apply to all businesses, but it's going to be the nuances and the questions and how it's applied that's going to make a difference. And that's why we feel like this is a good course for any business owner.
You spoke about that before too. I love that. I think you said they're the 3Ds. Was it decide, detail, design, distribute? Was it something like that? Tell us about that.
You pay good attention.
I do. So talk about, you said, and I love that. And I remember things that I love and make sense to me. So it's decide, detail, design, and distribute. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah.
So talk about that. Talk about what that means.
Each week we go through those. So deciding is really important, because what we recognize is that, so everybody starts with their product knowing that it's the best product ever, right? And then you get into the workplace, or you get into workflow, and you've got other things that you've got to focus on, like, making sure payments are done, or people are getting to work on time, or that you have the right orders being filled. And sometimes you forget why you actually established this business. So we literally, in the decide section, we literally go through everything. We identify all the value of all your products and services. We look at what kind of customer experiences are currently happening. We identify your customer. And so we go through just that in detail. So you know exactly who you're speaking to, but you also know the value of what you're giving those customers. In the detail section, it's the foundation of shaping your story. So we also believe that mission statements are really important. They're like the essence of your business, and they direct how you function. And so having a strong mission statement and operationalizing your mission statement. So this is not something that you write and you just put on your website. It's like, how is this being experienced throughout your company every single day in everything that you do? And so as a result, we also help you develop standard operating procedures for your business. So the reason that your Apple experience or your Starbucks experience or your Macy's experience is consistent is because they have standard operating procedures. And so small businesses need to do that. And so what does that mean? It's like, how do you greet your customers? Like, that is something as simple as that. It should be consistent. I have friends who own restaurants, and they keep saying, "Oh, I've had problems with my staff. I have to keep firing wait staff." And did you train them? Oh yeah, we tell them how to put the plates and how to take the order. But do they know why your restaurant exists? Do they know how different you are from every other restaurant? Do they understand the purpose of your existence? The people who work for you have to be invested in your story. They have to be an ambassador of your story. And so when you have these written down someplace that are and the behavior that you expect is consistent, then they can deliver consistent behavior. And then we get into designing, which is really looking at, what your story looks like, in terms of how people are responding to everything from the colors of your business. That's
big.
Everything from your business cards to signage to your website is it clear, right? Can people, is it easy for people to respond to? Is the language accessible?
Yes.
Those are things. Sometimes we speak in jargon all the time because we all know what it is. Does that make sense to someone who's approaching your business for the first time? So to make all of those things really accessible. And then we go into the importance of distributing. So now that you have the story and it looks great and everything is consistent and you have a system for how you're going to be operating, well, then how do you get all of that information out there? How are you going to really now use this to connect with your audience? How are you going to use data? Like we like to talk about data as the additional D. And, sometimes we think of data as a big business function. But I think small businesses, Shay and I have, are really strong about this, that we feel that small businesses have a better opportunity to use data because they have a more intimate relationship with their clients. So I might go on, I had this experience. I went on Macy's to buy a pair of shoes for my mom, right? My mom is 90 years old. And so
God bless her.
Those shoes followed me all over the internet. It's like, no, I'm not interested. Like, those shoes are for my 90-year-old mom. I'm not interested in the shoes that I which was probably going to be a one-time purchase for me. That's not a mistake a small business owner may make. Like, they will know, like, this is what this customer would like, or this is what this customer usually buys, and I know who they're buying it for because we have that dialogue. I know it's not for her, it's for her daughter, it's for her mom, it's for her dad. So it's important that we use that data, and then we go through all the different ways that you can access data.
That was my next question. How does your business, Storytellers, Words, Images, Magic, how do you collect that type of data? Are you asking your customer, if I became one of your clients, which I am and always will be, how do you collect that data from me? How is that put together? It seems so big.
Yeah, so there are a number of different ways. So for us, every time that we have a course designed already based on the clients that we've worked with.
Okay.
But I think what we've learned in business and what we're seeing even now with what's going on outside is that businesses have to be fluid. And so you always have to, we know that we've created a really good course, but now working more intimately with certain people, you're always going to get new information. You're going to get new information consistently. The broader you become, you're going to get information that is based on region, right?
Yes.
And so I think sometimes the mistake we make we come from a Caribbean background,
yes,
right? And so, I live in a Caribbean neighborhood, and so there are a number of great Caribbean restaurants in our communities.
How lucky are you, girl? You're blessed.
That's being gentrified, right?
Yes.
And so there's information that you have had about your customers up to date so far. But now you're getting new customers customers who don't look like me. They may not have my experience. And so they're going to respond to your product a little differently. They might be interested in it, but they may not understand it. Like, I can walk in a place and know what cowfoot soup is or something like that.
Yes. That's what you know, though, because that's your understanding.
Exactly. I know what those things are. And so every time, as you grow in a business and as you get new customers, it's important to listening. So communication, storytelling is really how you communicate. And a big piece of communication is listening. And so you can't feel that you always know what's best for the customers. You have to listen to what customers are actually saying to you and what they're requesting, what they're confused about, what they're angry about, what they're frustrated about. And so even, we all know that some customers are just difficult people to work with, but I don't think you can dismiss any of it. I think even in the most difficult situations, you should take that information and figure out, is this the first time that it's happened? Is it the only time that's happened? Or has it happened several times? And what has been consistent in this level of frustration from a customer, or engagement, or interest, or satisfaction? So I think that what's important in terms of when you gather your detail is to look at all of those things.
And that's your data. That's where your data comes from.
That's part of it. You can also ask people to do surveys. I think I would much rather, if you asked me to do a survey, I would much rather do a survey for you than I would for, an Amazon, or I don't feel connected to those companies.
Right.
But if you, Lisa, said, Sonia, I'm trying to collect some information about, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, I'd appreciate your honest feedback. I'd be sure. I want to help you. And so again, when you have that level of intimacy with your customers, it gives you an opportunity for real feedback. And
you bring that up.
I don't think you can dismiss that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You bring that up with Starbucks. That intimacy. We talked earlier, and Starbucks is coffee. You
Right.
talk about Folgers and Maxwell House and all of these other companies who were on television commercials. They don't have storefronts. Starbucks did something to bring in that personalization, that connection that you're talking about. The story.
Exactly. And what's fascinating about Starbucks for me, Dove, SoulCycle, when you look at those products, we're talking about soap, coffee, and an exercise, a stationary bike. Like that, those are really, really basic products that have been around since the dawn of time.
Yes, forever.
And what these companies did is they brought a story. They brought a commonality around why this product is important to you, and we all bought it. And that's why these companies are so successful. Dove is also fascinating to me because they started out as a beauty soap. I think like in the 1940s or 1950s, and maintained they were doing about 200 million consistently. But then with the explosion of the internet and people kind of creating their own stories, Dove created the Real Beauty series, where they had to expand their definition of beauty. It became very broad, and it looked different. It was different colors and different sizes and different ages. And it took creating these stories around what real beauty looks like, took them from 200 million to $4 billion.
Crazy.
Because now the product didn't change. It's still Dove soap, but the reason why you should be using Dove soap, the story around it changed. Coffee, Starbucks did, they created great flavors and they created all of these other things that are enticing for us. But at the end of the day, at the core of it, it was coffee, and they were able to say, like, this is what coffee looks like. This is what it tastes like, and this is where you should be drinking it, and this is how you should drink it. And they created this whole culture around it. So did SoulCycle.
Culture.
Stationary bike has been around since Jack LaLanne.
And you know what? You hit it right on the head. They created a culture, and this is why I love the name of your business also. We're talking about magic. We're talking about consistency. We're talking about storytelling. And, I mean, this is what, when we go back to, we'll talk about SoulCycle, but also going back to Starbucks, they created some kind of a magic, some kind of a story, some sort of, again, going back to consistency.
Right. And guess what? We didn't mind paying $5 a cup.
We didn't, and we don't, and we're still doing it.
And we're still doing it.
I think we may be in a recession, and I think they still have their drive-through open. Maybe they don't, but people are still paying for Starbucks. They're still paying for that $5 cup of latte. Yeah. And there's a reason for that. And and what I love about what you're doing is you're bringing that to the forefront again. How do these companies get there? How does the Starbucks, how does the Apple, all of these, Xerox, how did these companies, Ivory, Dove, whatever, how did they get to where they are? They created a story, a history, a magic, a consistency where people just keep on believing, right? Believing, understanding, and they're building a relationship.
Yeah. And some of them come really naturally. So your stories can come very naturally, or they can be created. Like it doesn't, you can create a story around what it is. So a lot of, for Shay and I, storytelling came naturally because it's what we did. I told stories through words, and she told stories through graphics. And that's why, we did words, images, magic.
I love it.
Because so we're bringing those two components together to create more dynamic and more magical stories for people. But you can sit and have an idea and literally say, so what can I create around this? Like what are consistent things around what I'm doing? So even if it doesn't come naturally, you can you can create, like, that's part of the creative process.
Well, that's
create the story.
But that's what you do. So you can
Yes.
take a look, because I think most people don't know the magic. They don't know their own stories until they're having that conversation with you, right?
Exactly.
So, and then the reason, again, we go back many years. Met you at Black Enterprise. At the time, my publicist Chandra McQueen introduced me into you, and we started talking, and you interviewed me dozens of times, on your platform, different parts of, oh my gosh, around, from New York to Boston to everywhere. We've had these conversations.
Baltimore, absolutely.
And you you know how to bring that story out. I was never nervous getting on stage. Of course, you have a little bit of stage fright, but I knew that you would ask me questions that I could answer, because you went, somehow you have that formula of going deep and going personal and going understanding. And let me just do a little bragging about you, because, you've interviewed Oprah Winfrey. Come on. Oprah Winfrey. You did a business story on Oprah. And when I brag about you and you're like, Lisa, not a big deal. I look at you, you're so iconic to me. And you really are. The people from Oprah Winfrey to Ursula Burns, she was a first African-American, was she CEO at Xerox?
CEO,
at Xerox. Rosalind Brewer, president, CEO, Sam's Club. Now she's still on the board at
Starbucks.
At Starbucks.
This is a president position at Starbucks.
Don Thompson, CEO McDonald's. And the list goes on and on. But you are doing what you do because you understand. Everybody can't do what you do. Okay, so let's just get that straight. And I love the marriage between, when I say the marriage, the connection between you and Shay, that she has one side of it and you have the other. And it just becomes something that you kind of brainstorm together and work together beautifully. But you know how to bring out that magical piece that people don't realize they have when they have that gift. You bring it out through.
And I think that's important for all of us to realize, like, what your talent is. And so I think that I consider myself a storyteller. Like, I'm fascinated by people's stories. I'm fascinated by, what makes things work and how they got there and the history of it. And I've always been that way from a kid. Like, I was always asking questions. I was always curious. Like, I'm always down the rabbit hole on the internet, because it's like, well, how did that happen? And where did that story begin? And so, but we all have that.
But you do it in such a way, everybody's not that. You go in, you have, not only do you have it innately, you have it that you are blessed to be able to do this for a living too. What a blessing to do that.
That is a blessing. I do consider it a blessing. Absolutely.
And you do it with such authenticity, and, there's journalists who go out there and just need to tell a story or ask a story, and you could tell there's a difference between just needing the story. You love the story.
I do love the story.
You love the history. You love the history. We've talked over and over again. You pointed things out to me. You said, Lisa, do you realize that you have this or you do that? Because you're looking deeper than I look within myself, I think, sometimes.
Right.
And that's the beauty that you have, again, in this business, that you could pull that out and draw that out of people, because you go deeper, I think, even than they do.
Yeah, I enjoy it, and Shay, it's great to have a partner who loves it as well. And so I think, and it's interesting because I can't even say, like, it was so natural how this partnership began and how it formed. And so, like, you can't argue that, like, we just went with the flow. And so, so we so look forward to the opportunity to be able to do this for businesses, because like, everybody has a great story. It's why, particularly if you were inspired to do your business. Some of us some people actively look for businesses to get involved in, which
Yes.
is also fine. But we also know some of us, like, this stuff, it was born, it was downloaded in you, or it's been burning in you to start. Like, you hear people say, like, I was born to do this.
Yes.
So, it's a privilege for us to be able to work with people and really get them to see where they need to be and how much further they can go. It's business owners take a lot for granted.
Yes.
In that. And so all we do is really just help you make it easier, make it more marketable, make it more accessible, and have you look at it in different ways too. Because I think that if more people just took time to stop and actually look at what they do, they would also be surprised at how much, like, I don't even think the impact that you have and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you just do it. You just go ahead and do it. And so part of this telling your story is letting people know how great you are at what you do and how you are the best at what you do.
But I say that about you in everything, and I know that, your partner Shay is the same. But to be able to express it, and this is what I love about your company, and I want to repeat your company name, you say it, because I want you to say that out loud and be proud of your company. What's your company?
Storytellers, Words, Images, Magic.
Love it. It. And
our website is wordsimagesmagic.com.
So is that on every social media platform? Is it also?
We are we're more active on Instagram, and so we also need help too. So we actually just hired a marketing person who's going to be working with us. Our priority right now is the course, and we created a manual that's going to accompany the course, but we're also going to be selling the manual separately so that more people can have access to the information. And so, we need to be posting a little bit more too. But we are on Instagram and LinkedIn and on Facebook.
And you'll be launching.
Sorry
to interrupt you. I'm excited about it because, we could go on because I really want to for a few more minutes and just talk about, you have elicited this going back to my own stories, which I really forget about my story and how I even started, because we're so lost and caught up in the minutia of social media and what we should be doing with what's popular, instead of taking a look at inwardly who we are, what we are as a company, and what you want people to understand about you.
Exactly.
Understand about your company. And I believe you're bringing to the forefront for everybody. I mean, I can't wait. What would you say to me? So how would you look at me in, my company, what I do? How would you, I guess, break down and say, Lisa, this is what I see you doing in just a few words, what I need to be doing more? Because you see me on a different level, 100%.
So the two, and we have a formula that we talk about in terms of sending out information. There's ways people access information, and the two most powerful in storytelling is providing information and inspiration. But what I think your strongest point is really information, because so many people have ideas, or so many people would like to bring products to market, but it's a really overwhelming process. Because, when you have an idea, you talk to family and friends are always giving you, what they will tell you is go do it, or they'll be like, that doesn't make sense, or you're not going to be able to do that. And so you bring such, and I'm an inventor at heart as well.
You are.
Even in me working with you, like, I was always shocked at the level of information that you had. And so I think what I've known, I think for you is you need just to create an information series where you're breaking down certain segments of the process, because you know from A to Z, but nobody else knows what even is in A to Z. Like, we don't even know what A to Z means. Like if I have a product, I have no idea that I didn't know that there were people that could actually get you on a QVC. I didn't know that you could find the process for protecting your intellectual property, the process for patenting, the difference between patenting and trademarking. Like there's so many areas of this process that and have access to the people who can get it done. So not only can you tell people how to do it, you can make several referrals on who people should go to get that. You're like your own Amazon. So like you can literally, reach tentacles out. And I think that you should be the source for every aspect, because there are people who are going to want soup to nuts, but as you know, that there are people who maybe all I want to do is just get my stuff patented. And I think people need to see you as that go-to, they don't see you as Lisa, but they see your organization as one where I can get access to all of these areas.
Go ahead, Sonia.
No, I also think that you should be doing high-level coaching.
It's happening, honey. I promise you. With your influence, you keep on pushing me to do that, and I really appreciate that. And we get so lost in the minutia of just marketing and social media and all of those things that we forget about the main tools and the staples to our businesses and what we're really all about, because people really are going back to telling the story, and who we are in the story, because that's the interest. That's what got me, back in the day in Black Enterprise and Essence and Ebony and like all of those magazines, because they were interested. And I think I told more of the story in the beginning, but you lose it. And with your company, you remind us to stay focused on what our business model is all about, the consistency, and
why you. And the thing is, everybody loses focus. So I know I talk about Starbucks a lot, but I really do love Howard Schultz.
Yes.
I love his story, but even in his story, he talks about. So when you say you forget your story in the beginning. So I have a really good friend who. So I'll finish with the Howard Schultz story, and then I'll go to the Essence story.
Yes.
But I have a really good friend. So Howard Schultz said that they grew so big, and they did so well, and they made so much money that he said we became arrogant. Like he said, we lost our way.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember when they closed the stores. At one point, he had closed the stores, all stores, for an entire day to regroup.
I do.
I do. Why did we start this company? Like, let's go back to why we started. He said he said they had won a Grammy. And in his head, he's like, wow, we won a Grammy? Maybe we could win a Tony. Like, he said, we totally forgot.
Yes.
And then I walked in and I smelled burnt cheese in one of the stores. And he said the smell was so offensive that that's what shook him. And he was just like, you know what? Like, have we really kind of just lost our way?
Yes.
And Essence, I had a really good friend who also worked at Essence, was one of the people who started the company. And, Essence has gone through their changes. And one of the things she said when we all started at Essence, she said we were Essence. She said we used to bring our babies in while we were working. And she said the minute we started jumping in and out of town cars, we forgot. We were building this, right? And we were bringing our kids in, and we were running back and forth, still trying to take care of home and launch this project. We were the women we were talking about. And then she said, we started jumping in and out of town cars, and our lives were different, and we were at a different level, and we were, still talking to women, but like it shifted a little.
It did shift. It did shift. And I think today is a day that I believe God said stop and take a look at what you're doing. Who are you? Where are your roots? What's your story? And your business could not have come along at a better time.
Yeah.
You're bringing us reflection, and you're reminding us to go deep into who we actually are and how we started. I mean, you're definitely doing it for me, because again, as I said, I get lost in this. And I'm admitting this. I get lost in the minutia of just putting something out on social media.
Right.
But what's the story? What is the story? What's the magic?
Yeah.
What are the words? What are the images? And this is why I love your business and your business model. But who's bringing it to the table? It's you,
Right.
Sonia Alleyne, and Shay.
Yeah.
You're just bringing it to the table at the right time. Your timing could not be more impeccable. And I love and appreciate you for this, and for everything that you've always done. And just, there's so much more to say about you, and we'll do this again. We'll have more of this conversation. We'll have it over and over again. And there's more. It's bigger and broader. Can't wait to be able to take your course, share your course. And I hope that you can speak at you will, not I hope you can, you will be speaking at the conference.
Okay, because I'm going to be there anyway.
No, you'll be speaking at the conference. You'll be there, and you'll be sharing.
I'll definitely be there.
You'll be sharing your business whenever we have it. I mean, it's postponed right now.
Right.
But certainly you will be there talking about this, because this is something that everybody needs. Every business owner, every entrepreneur, every inventor needs to have you in their front pocket.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And the love and respect is so mutual. I so appreciate you. You support everything I do, every crazy idea I have. And
you have great ideas. You have great ideas, Sonia. Your products are great, and we can't forget about those, and that'll be the next conversation, because you do things. Not only do you say them, we speak about them, you do it, you speak them into existence, and you make them happen, just like this.
Yeah.
You had a dream, you put it on paper, and you and Shay are doing it, and you're doing a great job, and I so appreciate you. Let's shout out your website again, your social media platforms, before we
thank you.
People are always logged.
So it's the website is wordsimagesmagic.com, and our social media is @wordsimagesmagic. So come by, check out. It's me, and Shay Leonora is my partner, and we're excited about the work. We love the work, and our goal is to help businesses realize their dreams.
And thank you for doing that every single day. I appreciate you, and I look forward to having you back on the show. God bless you. I love you. Peace be with you. Be safe, please.
Be safe, Lisa. You too. Thank you so much.
All right, sweetheart. God bless.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Sonia Alleyne. What a phenomenal guest. Women are so powerful. I have to say that first and foremost. I mean, just incredible. And in particular, at this time, we have time to think about who we are. We are going inward and really bringing about all of the ideas and inventions and products and everything that we've always wanted to do. This is a moment to pause and really create and recreate. So that was Sonia Alleyne. Her partner was not on the line, but she's partnered with Shay Leonora. Her business is Storytellers, Words, Images, Magic. And it was magical having Sonia on our show. Can't wait to have her again. And, her business is my pick of the week. That's super easy. So our pick of the week this week is Storytellers, Words, Images, Magic.com. Go there. She's got a program. She has a manual that you guys can pick up and understand what your business is all about. So thank you so much for listening again, over and over again. If you'd like to share your information on my podcast, The Inventress Podcast, just email me, theinventresspodcast@gmail.com. You can go to my website, inventingatoz.com. My website, inventingatoz.com. Certainly appreciate you listening every single week. Brittany was not on the show this week or last week. We're doing our social distancing, unfortunately. Love her, miss her. But love for you guys to come back again and again every single week. As I said, please continue to lift each other up, 2 hands at a time. Until next time, peace.